Hello, hello. This is the My Artifact episode number 3537. Today's date is August 14, 2025. It's been almost like a night at 10:08 p.m. All right. Let's just jump into the question. All right. Yeah. Question is, you haven't listed any limiting action yet. Okay. What exactly is this question? By the way, it's not actually a question, it's a kind of like a simply a statement. Okay. And are you agree for this statement or not? What is actually statement? A statement says you haven't listed any limiting action yet. What exactly it means? Um Limiting actions means like that key create a resistance for your progress. And haven't listed means like you don't know about that particular thing that you will kind of like face a resistance of your progress. It means like what exactly is this question? Okay, yeah. The question is that ki, do you know what kind of like some obstacles that you will gonna face in the future or in the kind of like achieving some sort of target? Okay, so have you ever kind of like something face those like have you ever kind of like a listed any kind of like a resistance? Okay, yeah. uh okay, let's go through that. Okay, let's figure it out all the possible thing. And okay, um okay, going to the conclusion, going to the solution, I need to understand this question little bit better. Okay, yeah, so that I would understand myself. Okay, yeah. So what exactly is this question? Okay, what exactly it's kind of like somebody asking? Okay, yeah. Let's just say that key example. Okay, yeah, you are going to school from like you are going to school from home to school. Okay, yeah. So basically going to the school means like that arrive in school is your destination. Okay, yeah. And the path from your home to school is your journey. Okay, yeah. Now what kind of like a somebody problem that you will gonna face while going to the school? First of all, you need to know your path. If you don't know the path, how do you supposed to arrive in school? Okay, you need to know the path. First thing. Another thing, in their path, in that particular path, they might have kind of like some sort of obstacles, like a river or maybe kind of like a railway crossing or traffic or kind of like some lot of things. Okay, yeah. Are you aware of that obstacles? Are you kind of like a figure it out or kind of like a fix that, or maybe what exactly is this thing? What I'm trying to tell you is this thing: when you try to going to the school, you need to know your path. Okay, yeah. And there is a kind of like a, when you know the path, there is some sort of obstacles in that path, might be like a traffic and things and something like that. Do you have any kind of like a something that key things that you kind of like face that obstacles, like let's just say traffic? How do you kind of like something resist that traffic, or how do you kind of like something face that traffic? Okay, yeah. Do you have any kind of like a something experience or things like that? Okay. Or maybe railway crossing. Okay, yeah. Or maybe kind of like a, let's just say river. So if you wanted to cross the river, you need to know the swimming. Okay, yeah. So this is what exactly is it. Okay, the question is kind of like a telling that ki, when you are kind of like a something have some sort of destination or kind of like a something that ki, the things that you where you want to are where you want to achieve. Okay, there is some sort of obstacles. Do you know that obstacles? Okay, yeah, you haven't really arrived in school, but do you know what kind of like obstacles that you face? Do you know the path that you going to the school? Okay, yeah. Because this is kind of like a something very essential thing that you have to be understand that key, what kind of like a problem that I will gonna face when I will going to the school. Okay, yeah. So this is what kind of like a assembly question. Okay, yeah. It kind of like a something telling you that ki, do you know, do you understand that ki, what kind of like a problem that you will gonna face when you are trying to achieve your goals and ambitions. Okay, so do I have any kind of like a ambition? Yes, I have. Do you know how to achieve that goal or ambition? Yes, I know. Do you understand, or do you know that ki, what kind of like a problem that you will gonna face while achieving that ambition or goal? Yes, I know. So so वेदू आवाज देता है. Okay, so what I'm trying to tell you is this thing that ki, um, like am I know my target? Do I like basically do I know all my target, and do I know every kind of like resistance and things like that? I'm kind of like a somebody is this thing, I do know that. Okay, yeah, but I think that ki, okay, so let me tell you one thing. Okay, yeah, going to the school is a very simple example. Okay, yeah, and it's not really hard to understand and things like that. Okay, yeah, but when you are trying to achieve something goal or some kind of like a something ambition or things like that. Okay, yeah, you might think that ki, you know what will gonna problem that you will gonna face, but in reality that problem might be something very different, or kind of like a something very unexpected things will gonna happen. So for that particular situation, what kind of like a something, what kind of like a something the things that I would kind of like handle that situation? Do I have any kind of like a things that? Well, first of all is that na ki, let me go from straight point of perspective. Okay, right now my goal is that ki, I wanted to earn money from YouTube content creation. Okay, yeah. Right now I have 1500 subscriber on YouTube platform, and kind of like a 13,000 follower on Instagram platform. Okay, yeah, my goal is that ki, I wanted to earn money. Okay, yeah, so for that thing I am kind of like a working on my content so that I make my content as good as better as I can. One thing. Another thing that ki, I wanted to be a consistent. So yeah, I am consistent for last 2 years. So yes, that is good. Okay, yeah, and these are kind of like a things that I'm following to kind of like a something that ki, within a year I might gonna start earning some sort of amount of money. All right, yeah. So basically this is kind of like a something goal. But do you think that ki, the path that you think is exactly right, or there is some sort of something wrong in there, things like something like that? Well, if I'm kind of like simply looking at the every possible way, there is some sort of wrong thing that I'm doing. Kind of like basically is this thing, there is some sort of kind of like a some the resistance that you don't really knew it. What exactly is this thing? Okay, there is a one thing that I'm kind of like assembly, most of people are kind of like telling me that ki, why are you not following the trend? Okay, well, probably is this thing na ki trend. Yeah, I could follow the trend, but probably I don't know, yaar. Like, how do I supposed to, like? Basically, my content is something very different. It's not really that ki, like, basically, I'm just kind of like taking a vlog and talking about things and something like that. My content is about the Photoshop, photography, graphic designing. Okay, yeah. I create kind of like a some creative poster regarding about particular topic and things like that. I chose such a topic which is kind of like a resonate for most of the people. Okay, yeah. Trending is a kind of like a something topic that most of people resonate for a little bit period of time, and they just gone. Okay, so basically the life of my content is actually depend on kind of like a during the trend. Okay, yeah, after the trend my content will gonna like there is no value and things like that. Okay, yeah, so basically what I'm trying to tell you is this thing that ki, I am trying to show that ki, I will follow the trend, but make sure that trend should supposed to be kind of like associate with my subject or things like that. Like, let's just example. Okay, yeah. Like when you are trying to do YouTube, when you are trying to do content creation, you cannot follow all the trends and things like that. Why? Because let's just say that let's just say Mr Beast actually kind of like a something create a contest, and in that particular contest people actually win some sort of amount of money. So this is actually kind of like a sort topic, okay, and Mr Beast actually make video regarding about that particular topic, okay. Even if there is a kind of like a something another trending happen, or kind of like a some this thing, Mr Beast will not gonna make a content regarding about another thing that is completely different than particular stuff. Like just say there is a kind of like a YouTuber named MKBHD. Okay, he is kind of like a tech creator. So basically, he actually kind of like a talk about technical aspects. Okay, let's just say ChatGPT 5 or kind of like a something that key F1 or kind of like a something new mobile phone or new technology or things like that. He just kind of like a make a kind of like a something video regarding about technical subject. So this is what it is. Every kind of like a creator is actually kind of like a follow the trend associate with his category of the video. Okay, yeah. So what I'm trying to tell you is this thing right now. There is a kind of like a SSC trend is actually following. What is the SSC? Like there is some sort of kind of like a something the SSC examination center has some sort of kind of like a something conflict happen. Okay, yeah, in India. So basically they have kind of like a some sort of trending. My friend is kind of like a suggest me that Prashik is actually suggest me that ki, why are you not making this particular content, like why are you making content regarding about this particular topic. I am not kind of like a trying to make this particular, I'm not trying to make this kind of like a simply like a basically is this thing now, this is something topic which is not really associate with the Photoshop or graphic designing things. It's kind of like associate with the kind of like a something politics or things like that, okay, or maybe education system or things like that. My content is about the graphic designing, which is little bit different, okay, yeah. And as also is this thing that ki very less amount of people will gonna resonate with this thing. Only such a people who resonate, who knows what is actually SSC and things and something like that, and those people are very less, okay, yeah. So probably is this thing na ki if I'm trying to make a content, okay, I'm gonna make sure that ki my content should supposed to be resonate with the more and more people, okay, yeah. And I'm trying to choose such a trending topic which is associate with my kind of like a simply genre, okay, and then I kind of like a do that thing, okay. So basically is this thing na ki right now do I follow any kind of like a trends? Well, probably is this thing ki there is a some sort of sound, okay, yeah, like music, okay, music are trending too, music are kind of like a something associated with the trending. So I use some sort of trending sound to kind of like a something my content will gonna kind of like associate with the trending sound, and it will gonna kind of like grow a little bit better. But what I'm trying to realize regarding about this 5 year experience of YouTube and things like that, ki okay, let me tell you one thing. Since 2021 I started doing YouTube, okay, and I kind of like I started multiple genre. I first of all I started as a travel filmmaking content, then I started gaming content, okay, yeah. I realized this thing that ki I cannot make such a content that I am not really confident or I'm not really kind of like a good at, okay, yeah. Like basically filmmaking is a kind of like a things that I'm really good at and things like that, but still the resources really required for travel filmmaking, I don't really have that resources. Like basically if I wanted to go travel and shoot and things like that, I don't really have money to travel. How do I supposed to do that thing? So probably is this thing that ki I can't afford travel content creation, okay. Then I started gaming, okay, yeah. Gaming content creation is kind of like a things that ki I could do that, it's kind of like something easy, but my character does not really kind of like associate with the gaming thing, okay, yeah. So I just like after a 2 year I realized that no, I'm not meant to be that, okay, yeah. And after that, like I kind of like somebody started doing photography and graphic designing and things like that. And since then it kind of like something really good at, like basically I'm really good at kind of like taking photos and this and that, okay, yeah, and graphic designing. So basically this will become something with genre, and somehow no one is actually making content like me. Like basically I am kind of like uploading the Photoshop tutorial, but in very different way, okay. It's not meant to be kind of like a simply people will know how do I supposed to make the video, how do I supposed to make the this poster. No, it's about the kind of like a simply that ki a fast time lapse we people just kind of like know what he was kind of like a trying to do. Okay, because of I kind of like somebody hooked up at the beginning of my reel, and people will stick with that kind of like a find out what he was kind of like making in my Photoshop design. Okay, yeah. So this is kind of like a some genre that I choose, and very less people are actually making a content regarding about this topic. Okay, so since then I'm kind of like a creating this content and kind of like a simply uploading this content on YouTube platform. Okay, yeah. And I am getting really good values, so many people are actually commenting on my videos and things like that. They feel really good and things like that. Okay, yeah. But after all those things, why don't you get that many subscriber? Why don't you get like a basically you are doing this thing for almost like a year and a half? Why don't you get that many subscriber? Well, problem is that na ki being a content creation, you shouldn't supposed to be expect a kind of like a number. Okay, no, nothing like at all. Like basically at the early stage of the YouTube career, you should supposed to be focused on content creation and make sure that ki you're gonna make your content as good as possible as you can. That's it. And being consistency. Okay, yeah. If you follow these two rules now, you just have to wait. And yeah, somehow, someday, this will gonna blown out. Okay, yeah. Like basically what exactly happened now? Ki we actually think that ki the progress should supposed to be happen from the beginning, like a one step, then two step, then three step, and four step. No, nothing will happen. Like basically is this thing na ki if you kind of like consider that ki my 5 year of YouTube career, in the 5 year, 4.5 year, you don't really get any kind of like a something like that ki traffic and things like that. But within a 6 months, your traffic get exponential. Like a millions of people are kind of like somebody looking at your content and things like that. So this is what it is. Now you just have to be patient and kind of like do that thing. Okay, and kind of like believe in yourself and just be consistent and just doing things. Do not expect any kind of like something the growth. If there is some sort of problem, you have to find out and figure it out and try to fix that thing. All right. Yeah. So this is kind of like simply my ambition, and this is kind of like a problem that I have. Okay, and I'm kind of like facing those problems. But still, what I'm trying to tell you is this thing that there is so many problems that ahead of us, ahead of me, and I didn't really knew it. Okay, because let's just say that if I kind of like started doing sponsorship. Okay, yeah, then when you are doing sponsorship content, then probably this might be very different. I don't really have any kind of like a prior information regarding about sponsorship content. What's a sponsorship? A sponsorship content means like that ki someone is actually kind of like giving you money to kind of like make a video on YouTube. Okay, yeah. And they are kind of like somebody just kind of like they have only one request that ki put my logo in your video at somewhere, things like that. So yeah, this is what that is called, kind of like a sponsorship videos. Okay, yeah. So basically is this thing that ki sponsorship video is a kind of like a very different thing, because I don't really have any experience regarding about how do I supposed to tackle the sponsors. Okay, yeah. Also, I didn't really know how do I supposed to pitch them, or I don't really know how do I supposed to charge my fees to them. So this is very different thing. Okay, yeah. So what I'm trying to tell you is this thing. There is so many hidden problems or hidden resistance over there that I don't really know. Okay, yeah. But I know little bit that this is kind of like a problem, but there are so many problems. Okay, yeah. Like a progress is not meant to be kind of like a always be a smooth. Okay, yeah. It always have kind of like ups and downs, and you just have to learn from it and things like that. So regarding about this question, the question says that do you any kind of like a listed any kind of like a simply the possible resistance that kind of like a limit your progress or things like that? Do you know that any kind of like a things? Well, I do know that, but I'm not really kind of like a say I'm completely 100% I do know everything. No, I might gonna say maybe almost like a maybe 70 to 80% I know, but still there are 20% that I didn't really know anything about that. Because when you kind of like a decide that your ambition is kind of like a this, then probably there are a lot of things. Okay, yeah. Like life is not meant to be kind of like just a full stop. It kind of like ups and downs and things like that. You just have to figure it out and learn from your possible experience and things like that. Okay. So this is what it is. This is what kind of like a something like a regarding about this statement. Do you kind of like a listed your limiting action? Well, probably I'm gonna say how much do you agree or how much do you do you know what kind of like a problem that you are gonna face? I know, but I'm thinking that yeah, I know almost 70 to 80%. 20 to 30% I might not gonna know. Okay, yeah. All right. Okay. I should supposed to be end here. This is it. This is it. And thank you.